I remember the day like it was yesterday. I had been distant for months, coming home late from work, avoiding eye contact, giving half-hearted smiles. I always had some excuse: a late meeting, extra projects, traffic. My husband Charles convinced himself it was just a phase, that I was buried under the weight of my demanding job. So he stepped up, cooking dinner, handling the kids' bedtime, doing whatever he could to ease my burden. But deep down, I knew something was slipping through my fingers, a growing distance that I couldn't put a name to. What he didn't know was that I had been hiding a secret from him, one that kept me awake at night with guilt. A mistake I made, an affair that I never meant to start, but it spiraled out of control. It wasn't love. It wasn't even about him. It was about the emptiness I felt inside, a void I couldn't fill. And now, it had become a secret too heavy to carry alone. As the days passed, I felt the weight of the deception bearing down on me, knowing that each lie, each evasion, was pulling us further apart. I thought I could manage it, that I could put the pieces back together without ever having to say a word. But the guilt was like a shadow that followed me everywhere. And every time I looked at Charles, I felt the shame wash over me. I knew it was only a matter of time before the truth would have to come out, even if it meant tearing our lives apart. Charles came into my life during my college years. He wasn't like the guys from my hometown. He had this energy, this drive to make something of himself. We met at a friend's birthday party, one of those gatherings where the music is too loud and the beer flows freely. He walked up to me, made a joke about my awkward dance moves, and somehow we ended up talking for hours outside, away from the noise. He was charming back then, witty, attentive, the kind of guy who remembered the little things, like my favorite song or how I liked my coffee. I fell for him hard and fast. We got married a few years after graduation, settled into a cozy home, and started a family. We have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, both under the age of 10. They're everything to me, and I know Charles feels the same way. We always tried to be the best parents we could be, making sure they felt loved, safe, and secure. But somewhere along the way, our marriage became more about managing the kids, the bills, and our jobs, and less about each other. Charles is a good man, but over the years he changed. The spontaneous dates, the little surprises, the playful texts during the workday, all of that faded. He became more focused on work, on providing for us, and less on keeping the spark alive between us. I tried to be patient, to tell myself that this is just how things go when you've been married for a while. But I craved that romance, that excitement, that feeling of being seen and desired. I hinted at it, dropped suggestions about date nights or weekend getaways, but he never seemed to catch on. Or maybe he was just too tired to care. And then there was my boss. He's confident, always put together, the kind of man who walks into a room and makes people pay attention. He noticed things about me: the new haircut, the days when I looked more tired than usual, the times I was distracted during meetings. At first it was just harmless, flirting compliments that made me feel good, made me feel seen. But then he started to push the boundaries, testing the waters, seeing how I'd react. He'd brush his hand against mine during a lunch meeting or make a comment about how Charles was lucky to have me. I knew I should have shut it down. I knew I should have walked away the moment I felt that flutter in my chest, the kind I hadn't felt in years. But I didn't. I let it continue because it felt good, too good. He knew I liked the attention, that I missed the affection, the spark, and he fed into that. He brought back the thrill I'd been missing, and I clung to it like it was air, telling myself it was just a harmless distraction. But it wasn't. I let it go too far, and soon it wasn't just words or lingering touches. It became something I couldn't ignore, something I couldn't hide anymore. And one day it happened. I had stayed late at the office, thinking I could catch up on some work. My boss had left, but he came back, saying he forgot a few files. I could feel the tension in the air, that unspoken connection sparking between us again. He leaned against my desk, his gaze locked onto mine, and I felt a rush of adrenaline. "Long night, huh?" he asked, his voice low. I nodded, my heart racing. "You've been working so hard. You deserve a break." I laughed lightly, trying to play it cool, but my pulse quickened. We started talking about the workload, the stress, and suddenly it felt like we were the only 2 people in the world. He moved closer, brushing my arm with his fingers, sending shivers down my spine. My mind screamed at me to stop, to push him away, but I didn't. I was tired of feeling invisible, tired of being just a mom and a wife. Before I knew it, we were kissing, and it felt electric, everything I had craved for so long. We stumbled into his office, and in a whirlwind of passion, we were lost in each other. It was reckless, impulsive, and in that moment I felt wanted again. But as the reality of what I had done set in, guilt washed over me like a cold wave. Afterward, I sat there, my heart racing, not just from the physical connection, but from the sheer weight of what I had just done. I looked around the office, realizing the gravity of the situation. I had crossed a line I could never uncross. The thrill I felt quickly morphed into shame, and I couldn't shake the image of Charles and the kids from my mind. They were my everything, and I had betrayed their trust. As the days went by, the guilt gnawed at me, making it hard to focus at work or be present at home. I couldn't enjoy the fleeting moments of intimacy with my boss. All I felt was regret. I thought about my kids, how they relied on both of us for stability and love. They deserved better than a mother tangled in a lie, a husband kept in the dark. One evening as I walked through the front door, I felt the weight of my secret heavy on my shoulders. My footsteps were slow and heavy as I moved through the hallway, and when I reached the living room, I found Charles standing there, his expression a mixture of concern and confusion. I stared out into the darkness, trying to gather my thoughts. "Lisa," he called softly, and I could hear the hope in his voice. I didn't look at him right away. Instead, I twisted my wedding ring, as if it held the answers to all my questions. When I finally turned to face him, I saw the man I had fallen in love with, vulnerable and uncertain, just like me. But there was something else in his gaze that night, something that twisted my stomach in knots. "Charles," I began, my voice barely a whisper, "we need to talk." The words felt heavy, like stones in my mouth. His chest tightened, and I could see the tension radiating from him. He managed a small, tense smile. "Sure, what's on your mind?" I took a deep breath, one that felt like it sucked all the air out of the room. I sat down on the edge of the sofa, feeling as if my legs could give way at any moment. Charles mirrored me, the silence stretching between us like a chasm. "There's something I have to tell you," I said, my voice breaking. I couldn't meet his eyes. My gaze was fixed on my trembling hands, gripping my ring until my knuckles turned white. I forced myself to stay calm, though a part of me wanted to shout, to demand answers. "What is it, Lisa? Just tell me." I looked up, my eyes glistening with unshed tears. For a fleeting moment, I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. I leaned forward, desperate to find the courage to reveal my truth, but I could feel his gaze burning into me, and I faltered. "It's not what you think," I said quickly, feeling as though I was trying to convince myself more than him. "I never meant for this to happen, Charles. I never meant to hurt you. I got lost somewhere along the way." His heart pounded in his chest as he pressed for answers. "Lost? What do you mean lost? You've been shutting me out for months. You need to be straight with me. What's going on?" I squeezed my eyes shut, collecting my thoughts before opening them to meet his gaze. I cheated on you," I said, the confession spilling out like a dam breaking. I watched as his expression fell, his face going pale as he processed the words. "Cheated? What do you mean?" he stammered, taking a step back as if my words had physically struck him. "I had an affair with my boss. It happened once, but it shouldn't have happened at all. I'm so sorry, Charles. I didn't want to hurt you, and I didn't want this to come out this way, but I can't keep lying." He stared at me, disbelief flooding his features. "You did what?" His voice was barely a whisper, shock written all over his face. "How could you?" "I don't know," I exclaimed, tears streaming down my cheeks. I just felt so lonely. I wanted to feel something again. I thought it would make me feel better, but it didn't. It only made everything worse. "Do you understand what you've done?" he said, his voice rising in anger and hurt. "We have kids, Lisa. What were you thinking?" "I wasn't thinking." I cried, desperation creeping into my tone. "I was lost, and I messed up. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I had to tell you. I couldn't carry this burden any longer. Our family means everything to me." He ran his hands through his hair, pacing the room, processing my confession. "I can't believe this. How could you put us at risk like this? Do you even care about our family?" "I do. I love you and the kids. That's why I'm telling you. I need to face this. I can't keep living a lie. Do you think that just because you told me it makes it okay?" He shot back, hurt lacing his words. "I know it doesn't make it okay. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But I want to work through this. I want to try and fix what I broke." I pleaded, hoping against hope that he could somehow understand my heartache. Silence filled the room, the weight of my confession hanging heavily between us. I had opened the floodgates, and now I had to brace myself for the aftermath. The silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. I could see the storm of emotions swirling in Charles's eyes: hurt, anger, betrayal. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting for his response, bracing for the fall. Finally, he stopped pacing and turned to face me. "Lisa," he began, his voice steady but low, "what you did, it shattered me. I never thought I'd be in this position, and I can't pretend it doesn't hurt like hell. I know, and I'm so sorry," I whispered, my heart aching for the pain I had caused him. "I never wanted to hurt you or the kids." He took a deep breath, his gaze softening just a little. "I can't just forgive you without thinking about our family. Our kids deserve better than this chaos. They deserve a mother who is all in, who isn't torn between two worlds. I promise I'll do whatever it takes to fix this," I said, desperation lacing my voice. "I'll prove to you that I'm committed to our family." He nodded slowly, contemplating my words. "I'm willing to try and forgive you, but there's one condition." My heart raced. "What is it?" "I need you to cut ties with your boss. No more working late, no more casual lunches or flirting. If you want us to move forward, you have to end this. No more secrets. I can't handle the thought of you being around him anymore." The weight of his words hit me hard, but I knew he was right. "I understand. I'll do it. I promise. I'll tell him it's over and that I need to focus on my family. I want to rebuild what we have." Charles looked at me, his expression a mix of hope and caution. "This is going to take time, and it won't be easy. You'll have to show me every day that you're committed to us. I need to feel that trust again." "I will. I'll fight for our family," I vowed, my heart swelling with determination. "I'll do whatever it takes to make things right." He stepped closer, reaching out to take my hand. "I want to believe in us, Lisa. I really do. But it's going to take work from both of us. We have to be open, honest, and willing to communicate. I'm ready for that. I want to be that wife and mother you deserve," I said, tears of relief spilling down my cheeks. As we stood there holding hands, I knew we had a long road ahead of us. But for the first time in a while, I felt a flicker of hope. We were willing to fight for our family, to heal the wounds I had caused, and to rebuild our trust. It wouldn't be easy, but we were in this together, and together we could find our way back.
Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. It's a reminder that love can endure even the toughest trials, and honesty is the first step toward healing. If you found this story relatable or know someone who might need to hear it, be sure to share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging stories that touch the heart, spark conversation, and inspire you. We have plenty of content lined up that dives into love, betrayal, and the complexity of relationships.